Hey, what's going on, guys? Here for Recon Angling Live. I think it's Thursday. No, it's Wednesday, January 31st. I'm losing track of time. I'm here with Jeff Fetters. We're here in the fish cave down here, and you might be able to see behind us here. We got some new Laker rods that are being finished up back here. They're turning behind us. But welcome to the live show tonight. Got a few things to talk about and hang out, have a good time, talk fishing. It's been super warm everywhere, so it's been eating up a lot of ice in quite a few places. Kind of foggy back home in the Flaming Gorge area. A lot of dense fog and stuff out there the last couple days. It's been kind of helping to keep what minimal ice we do have out there going. So if you guys can hear us, I don't have my usual setup. I'm kind of on the go, so I'm trying something new tonight as far as the setup. So if you guys can hear me, just go ahead and pop something in the comments if you're able to hear us. But other than that, there's some little bit of ice left in the metro. By the way, it was 63, 64 degrees today?
Yeah, about 64 degrees. So I know the ice addiction tournament's going on this Saturday here in the metro over at Creek. Got moved from Chatfield. Reports kind of vary. I know my friend Nate did one from Tight Lines, and it's about 8 to 9 inches over there. So looks like it'll be a good tournament over there on Saturday. Nice. For all the guys participating in that. I've been over fishing Chatfield. It's been about a week or so since I went. I know that there was some pretty good ice over in the Kingfisher area. I tried to fish some different spots towards Swim Beach, and I thought it would be a little thicker with all the sub-zero temperatures we had 3 or 4 days prior, but it ended up being about 3.5 inches is what I found. So whatever you do, as warm as it's been, make sure you guys are careful out there. Take that safety equipment, spud your way out. Probably some soft spots at this point developing.
Yeah, because you're getting to that time of year. I mean, it's early this year, right? Like ice just got here and it's already going away, it seems, in most places. But there's certain times of the year where you have to spud your way out and spud your way back off the lake, just because with those temperatures getting so extremely warm in the afternoon, those ice conditions do change. So just because it was good when you guys are going out there in the morning doesn't necessarily mean that same path is going to be clear. But we got a bunch of people watching. We're going to do kind of a two-part giveaway tonight. So Jeff has got some of these mud holes going on. Sean, hey Chad, let me know if Tegan's watching. I'd like to share his mishap story from the weekend, from last weekend out fishing. But Jeff has these nice reels here, so he's going to give away 2 of these reels. They're mud hole 2200 series spinning reel. Really nice reel. You could use ice fishing for big leg trout, or you can use it on one of your open water rods as well. But it's going to be a 2-part deal. So we're going to do the first one here. Guys, go ahead and post in the comments. I want to hear, what's a fish that you haven't caught that's on your bucket list? For me, it'd be kind of a 1,000-pound marlin would be a dream of mine come true. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this. I kind of want to go maybe down south somewhere and get myself alligator gars.
Oh, there you go.
Looking for. Those look kind of vicious. You see stories. They get pretty good size, and I like to chase big fish. So I think that's what I'd do.
Nice. So we have somebody watching that's looking at all the comments, and they're gonna randomly pick what they feel is the coolest dream fish. You guys post in the comments. He's gonna pick it out, and then we'll we'll announce the winner towards the end of the show. So if you're watching, make sure to message me towards the end of the show so we can announce the winner while we're live. And then the other portion of it is to go on Jeff's Facebook page. It's Fetters Custom Rods.
Just Jeff Fetters on Facebook. And I also have Fetters_custom_rods on Instagram. So I'd love for you to go on both of them, but if you go at least to one of them or whatever, like and follow, then that's how we'll give out the other one.
And follow on Jeff's on his Instagram or his regular Facebook, and then he'll randomly pick a winner, and then we'll get these shipped out. So we have 2 of these 2200 series mud hole reels here, these little spinning reels, 5.2 to 1 gear ratio, 5 ball bearings. So pretty good little setup there that he's doing for a giveaway. But once again, go ahead and comment a fish that you haven't caught that's a dream fish of yours, that you'd like to catch. That's a bucket list. So get the comments going on there, and then we'll announce that here in a little bit. What's going on, David? And let's see, we got some pretty good ones. Chad, tiger trout, those are pretty cool. You guys, if you watch the new intro that I debuted today, you'll see a nice, awesome tiger trout at the end of that. You got a grand triviale, Wells catfish. That's pretty cool. Rooster fish, that was pretty fun too. And then Roberto says he has a hookup in Mexico.
There you go. You mentioned 1,000-pound marlin.
Yeah.
So it looks like someone's got you ready to go.
Peacock bass, that's on the list too.
That's on my list.
Yeah,
also.
It looks like Joel and Jay both are looking for a peacock bass. Let's see, Mike wants a striper, not to be confused with something else. And then let's see, sailfish, Dalton. Robert Neal wants a lake trout.
You're with the right guy if you want a lake trout.
What's going on, Joey?
About it.
Nick Ramsey, a golden dorado. Those are cool too. Tim Byers, 10-pound walleye. Kevin Underwood, he wants a peacock bass on top water. Kingfish, Michael. And then Jay wants to know how to order a Fetters custom rod.
Jay, we fished the championship over at Cherry Creek, so I'm working on some rods. You know how to order one of those. I talk to you directly quite a bit, so hope you're doing well, Jay. I'll get with you.
And then Des, we were out slow trolling last week on her ice fishing rod. Since there isn't ice to really break it in on a big fish, we used it from the boat, and she got a nice 20-pound fish. So she said she likes her Raiders rod that you made. She slow trolled with it a few weeks ago. Yeah, did catch a pretty good lake trout on it to break it in. So we did what we had to do to get that rod broken in the right way. Let's see. Joey Martinez, Black Marlin. Kyle Ross wants a Xander. Philip wants a tarpon. Tiger muskie. John wants a muskie. James Howard, what's going on, man? He wants a shark. What kind of shark, James? You got to let us know. Let's see. Roberto said he caught a tiger this year at Antero on a small swim bait. That's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about you're missing, I think, one key piece of wardrobe that I see hanging up over here. You might need to go put on.
Yeah. Yeah. We're down here in the fishing cave. It's kind of funny, but those of you familiar see me out on the water and all the posts with hashtag Netman. The Netman cape happens to be hanging over here in a different part of the fishing cave, and so I don't have that on today because I'm not netting any fish. But looks like we're getting close here to spring, so I may have to break that out again. Been a little.
Well, that's the
most
important job.
I know,
boat, right?
It is the most important. important job on the boat. So you always want to have yourself a good net man. You know, you got to get certified. You don't want to make a mistake on
Right.
big fish. So.
Yeah, make a mistake. Or, you know, if you're fishing through the ice, got to make sure your buddy knows how to do the old scoop and pull out of the hole. Or, you know, if you watch some of my videos, I like to do the old tail grab on some of these lake trout, which it's pretty funny watching my clients when they watch me just, you know, that fish swims by, I reach my arm down there and just grab that fish and pull it up. It's kind of surprising and fun. But yeah, you need to have a good net man out here. But let's talk a little bit, you know, about rods and, you know, kind of the process of building a rod, kind of what goes into it that, you know, maybe a lot of people don't know, or something that's cool about it.
Yeah, so everybody has a preference in rods. We all maybe have a favorite brand. We all have a different length. If we're out here based on the season, we're using different type of rods. You know, in the fall time, we're doing a lot of snap jigging, a lot of shiver minnows, jigging wraps. And so typically a 6.6 or a 6.3 rod, you know, medium action, fast tips, really works good for that type of fishing. So I do build all types of rods. In general, the process is about the same, but it's about picking the right blank, picking one with the action that you want. That could be medium, fast, get the length that you want. You know, I do some longer trolling rods that are 8'6" as well. There's a little more work because, you know, there's a lot of guides that go on there. But once I'm able to kind of source and find a good quality blank that provides the sensitivity and the strength that I'm looking for chasing walleye, for example, as opposed to like an ultralight for trout, you know, the first step is taking that blank and then coming up and designing a handle on it. So when you're building rods, you're always doing the handle. So there's a lot of different handle, and I think many of you have seen kind of the craze with split grip handles. So the split grip handle, some of the ideas behind that was just making sure that sometimes on a split grip handle, you could put your pinky or your last two fingers on your hand. And the idea is that you would get a little more sensitivity and be able to feel the bite on that particular, you know, on that particular rod by actually being in contact with the rod. And so to a degree, I believe that to be true. But the other thing with a split grip rod is you just get a little bit different balance. You get a balance point when you put a spinning reel on a split grip spinning rod. You just get that little bit of balance. And ideally, you want it to be kind of neutral when you're holding the rod on the hand, because you're going to be casting your baits out over and over all day long. And, you know, the wrong rod can really kind of beat you up and wear you out after a day of doing that, especially for you guys that might tournament fish or just hardcore, where you'll go from daylight to dark.
And on the flip side with that, you know, if you're jigging more, you might want to have more of a, you know, a solid or one grip,
Correct.
One solid piece on there. You know, as you know, some guys have figured out with lake trout, it's a little bit harder with a split grip. You lose a little bit of that control and the ability to really tuck that rod, you know, comfortably under your arm, you know, to crank on those big fish.
Yeah, and I've been building rods for 20 some years. I mostly got into it because back in the day, some of the rods I wanted were way outside of my price range. I mean, they're back in the day, the rods I wanted were like a G Loomis rod when it first came out. You know, the original version, and a walleye rod was, I think, $450.
Yep.
So what I did is I was able to kind of buy the parts, and then I was a little self-taught, got a little help from some books, and kind of built it the hard way. I had a lot of things to learn back in year one of building some rods, and so I built a couple just for myself. And then as it came along, and as you talk, Shane, about having a solid handle instead of a split grip like on my Laker rods, you know, Shane's exactly right. This just works out better for those bigger fish. And when you have a longer handle, hopefully you guys can see this, you're able to tuck it back here in your arm. when you've got a 25, 30, 35-pound lake trout, you're able to kind of control the fish, and you're hoping that the rod, which is really a lever, is doing most of the work, and you can let that fish take line
and not burning your forearm.
Your forearm, yeah.
I mean, that's like I think the biggest misconception is, you're fishing for big fish, you need to have this stiff, heavy rod. Well, in the early stages of kind of making these ice rods for Lakers, we found out that having too stiff a rod makes these lake trout, especially the big ones, shake a little bit more, which increases the chance of them throwing the tube out. Yeah. And when you get when it's your first time out and you have a big fish on there, and you don't have the groove down, and then you have a 40-pounder on that gets off at the hole. I'm not mentioning any names, but I know you're watching, and so I might get some grief about it later. Yep. But it's the gift that keeps on giving with that. But you learn from that and attention to details, and then you come back to the drawing board and come out with a rod that really absorbs a lot of that action and that weight from those fish. So those fish just kind of easily pull and go on their nice runs. And they're not shaking. Yep, there we go, Des. And they're not shaking their head, and they just come up a little easier. So having that rod that really gets down there and bends, I mean, it's really nice when they go on those runs. You're not burning your forearm out on that. And then Janelle says, "Hey, big brother."
Yeah, it's my sister.
So, and then Philip Castle, he knows I went armpit deep last year to get one out of there. And they were some of the first clients out with me last year that, when we were kind of honing these ice rods in for these fish, got to use them and test them. And then they ended up ordering some because they liked them. But it really is, as Jeff was talking about, it is really good, as I'm going to break something here. Getting that fish and being able to put it under your armpit, or even being able to take your hand on these larger foregrips like this and just kind of and hold on to that and just let the fish pull when he's pulling, and then slide your hand back nice and easy and work that reel when they're pulling. So, this is, if you guys are looking for something that's kind of, something custom for you that's not going to totally break the bank. I mean, you got the Alps reel seat, which this is an aluminum reel seat.
It is, yeah.
Which is great when you're in the hut. If you like to cry like I do when it's cold out and I'm having to be on the boat, it is a little colder on your hands, but it is something that's nice and durable. And it is very nice, and it feels good in your hand, and that kind of encompasses the whole, kind of the whole experience with the rod. It gives a whole new experience to fishing when you have the right equipment. Kind of like anything, right? When you have the right equipment, you're going to be a lot more successful, and it's going to be a little easier with your life than trying to figure it out. But so these, and it's got a nice, he wrapped the tip there with the green, so it's easy to see those bites and stuff on there. But super cool rod. Sorry to the Lions for losing. Because this could have been a Super Bowl rod, but not anymore.
So as Shane said, we've gone through 4 or 5 different iterations of this rod. Shane's helped me a lot along the way with his guiding business. I send some rods out there if I really know how I want to know how a rod's going to perform. He's out there fishing almost every day, and so he kind of puts them through the test. But he comes back to me too and provides good feedback and says, "Hey, I think that one's like a little too stiff. I wish we could do this, and I wish we could do that." The good news is, if you're a custom rod builder like I am, you can almost do anything, but still rod building is like a science. So once you get past figuring out what you need for a handle for a different species, then you've got to go into the guide spacing and figure it out. There's actually a mathematical formula. I won't bore you with that, but safe to say over the last 5-6 years, particularly with
But if
big
they
Lakers,
wanted, they could watch Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, they can,
and he'll figure it out for you.
Do it. Yeah, I mean, I've got
Matt Damon will come out there and he'll do the calculations.
Yeah, I've got a whiteboard around here too. I could really show you how to do it, but it's just best to kind of get a tried and true tested kind of rod that's out there, and I think I was more successful because catching some of these big giant lake trout, and I've been lucky the last few years, including this year out on a impromptu rod delivery trip with Shane. Like, I've been lucky to kind of get my hands on some of these fish and catch some of these big ones, but it's all
caught one of the biggest ones through the ice.
Last year through the ice. That was on one of my custom rods, and I have to be honest, I actually built that particular rod was kind of an in-between, not normal length. I actually caught that on a rod that I had built originally for burbot, and it turns out that it turned out to be a great lake trout rod, and it was a spinning rod version. And I'm kind of lucky to use some of the PC Fun reels that I do because it strips some drag. So that's how you kind of test out a reel too, is put a big fish on there.
Yeah, so. What was funny too is, I had just rolled up. We had caught a couple big fish. I had rolled up, was kind of chit chatting with
Brett.
And then they caught a big one, and I went over and was talking to Jeff and kind of maybe giving him crap about the hole he drilled because it wasn't good. It was a jagged nightmare of chaos. Because usually when I make my bigger holes, I spud out the nice little points that you're probably going to break line on. Jeff did not do that, and then he's he hooks up and he's like, oh, it's not that big. It's not that big, and then it comes through, and then I see the head go by, and I'm like, oh, it's a decent one, and then I grabbed the tail, and then the whole body just went from about like this to like that, and it was a huge 44-inch fish, 40 pounds, big head, like had a big burbot hanging out of his mouth, and
still hit an 8-inch tube. It was crazy.
Yeah, and so we had to give him some grief because we were like, I thought you said this one wasn't that big. This is one of the biggest fish that we pulled through the ice last year. But Roberto says somebody needs to invent heated wraps or heated eyelets. And I was talking to this, when we were out with when Des and we were out fishing. It was super cold. And I actually took some electrical tape and then taped some a hand warmer on the reel seat, because typically the only thing that gets cold will be your middle finger, because you have that finger pressed on the trigger, and so the blood can't flow. So that could be a good idea if somebody who's a wizard out there is watching. But my idea for that would be where unscrew this, put a battery pack in there, and then just have some heat tape wrapped around this, and then I don't know.
Yeah, my father-in-law is an electrician, so I'd been asked about this years ago as I built rods, ice rods, and like, wouldn't it be cool if we could make sure the guides on our ice rods wouldn't freeze up and that type of thing. So I asked my father-in-law, who's an electrician, I'm like, hey, is there a way to kind of heat up some of these guides and that type of thing? So I think it could be done, but the other thing is rod building, even though you can do everything, it doesn't mean you always should. It'll end up looking kind of hokey or whatever. The most important thing is you just want to have confidence in catching fish and putting some of those big ones topside. So.
Yep. Yeah, Matt, I am at Jeff's house. He said put a small lithium battery in the butt.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Philip says he likes the aluminum reel seats. A friend of mine broke a plastic reinforced reel seat. Yeah. I mean, when I first started fishing for these big fish, I was using the 38-inch heavy jaw jacker rod for lake trout and hooked, a 30-pound fish. And it literally, that rod was bending so much it broke the reel seat on there. And luckily, I usually, if you guys are watching this, always carry electrical tape in your bibs on your boat, because on the fly, I'm sitting there holding it and have my buddy come and tape the rod back to the reel while I'm fighting this big fish. And luckily, I was able to land it. But yeah, I mean, it just goes back to having that little extra security. If you're in a hut, excuse me, it's great. Your hands aren't going to get cold. It's just one more, aspect of durability that you have with the rod.
Yeah, and I do rod repair too, as well as build custom rods. And I can't tell you how many reel seats I've replaced. Sometimes even on just some regular everyday walleye rods, etc. So some of the graphite and stuff, those are graphite reel seats typically. Usually they're pretty good brands. They're either Fuji or Pac Bay, but sometimes they just wear out, they break. Sometimes when you're not aware of it, you might have it in the boat or in your truck. Sometimes you can, kind of step on a rod or bang it up a little bit, and that might be enough to kind of get it cracking. And then when you put enough pressure on it, under the weight of a reel seat, or if you get snagged up a lot on the rocks and you always think you have a big fish, it puts there's a lot of pressure on these rods, and that's in reel seats and parts. You see guides come off and that type of thing sometimes. So it can all be fixed. But typically these aluminum reel seats have been really good. And the other thing I like about them is it's a double nut reel seat on these Alps. They're a little bit more money, just to acquire, because they're nice reel seats, but you never have to worry about your reel getting kind of loose as you're constantly dropping or casting with it, etc. So
yeah, it did take me a while too when I first got it to try to figure that out, because I'd never seen them before, and I'm like, how the heck do you do this? What's going on, Dennis? Yeah, Sean says he uses hockey stick tape. He always has that on him, and yeah, I've never used it, but if it has to do with hockey, I'm pretty sure it's got to be fairly durable.
Yeah, I mean, my son used to play hockey, so that hockey stick tape is pretty good. It's kind of like an athletic tape. It's like a white athletic tape, so that stuff is pretty tough, like taping ankles and things like that. So,
let's see. Philip wants to know if. Oh, hey, look. Speaking of
our friend Brett Jones,
yeah,
he says zip ties work too. Yeah, I've seen a lot of reels with zip ties on them. Usually they're brand new in a store when they're on a combo, and they don't want the reel to go missing from the rod. So you've got to cut those off before you go fishing, or you can leave them on and you've got added protection. So either way, zip ties really work good too. So
Dennis says he uses silicone tape as well.
Yeah,
Brett's laughing. Brett's actually here with us. You just can't see him because he's not tall enough.
Oh my God. I did not do that. This is not my show. I'm a guest.
Oh. Yeah, Reeker says he hates zip ties that cuts his fingers. Yeah, that'd be my thing too. Buck says he leaves those zip ties on. I'm not gonna lie. There's been a few times I did that, and on some of my rods that I buy, I'm notorious for leaving the plastic on.
Yeah.
Brett says that's blanked up. I can't repeat. He said it's tucked up. Yeah,
it's a PG show. Folks.
Yeah, it's PG Brett. But yeah, had to get that out there. I usually have to mess with Brett quite a bit. And Reeker said, you can also use shrink wrap. There's various ways, or you can just use what it's made for. And these awesome roll seats that are made for doing that.
Yeah.
And get that on there.
Yeah, and if you're looking for more grip, or you want to keep your hands a little bit warmer too, on some of those cold mornings, what you can do is there's a product out there called Rod Wrap, and so all it is, it kind of sticks upon itself, and at the very end of it, what you do is you go ahead and it's got a little piece of black tape and then it just keeps it on there. So it gives you a little grip even in like wet conditions.
Yep.
You can do that in the summer, but also if you've got some handles on your rods that you're using for ice fishing, you feel like you need to keep your hands, like a little warmer on the bare hands instead of something metal, you definitely can use that rod wrap. That rod wrap, actually, you can wrap it from the rear grip across the top of the reel seat and keep going up onto your foregrip, the front grip of your rod as well. So those are all kind of some ideas that'll help you hold on to things a little longer if you think you're going to break a reel seat on something. So
yeah, Thomas wants to know what's the best length for Lakers in a tent. Well, what we have found is, in a tent, you're looking at about 4 foot.
Yep.
About 48 inches is, 46 to 48 inches is kind of where you want to be. This 48. Rod here is 48. And these work really great. You can go longer, and you can use, if you have a bigger tent, you can use 5 foot. What I found with some of those 5 foot rods, if you're the type of guy that wants to just kind of sit back and relax when you hook a big fish, those rods have a lot of rod to flex with those big fish. So you don't really need to get up on your knees and move around as much. You can just kind of sit back, relax, and fight that fish with that longer rod. It is a little bit more difficult once you get that fish to the hole to get it through with a longer rod. You got to have a buddy that knows what he's doing, telling you kind of which way to move.
Yep.
The good caveat with these shorter rods like this is you're able to kind of, they have really good flex on them. So you can really move that fish nice and easy. And that's the thing, a lot of people don't realize is, if you need to move the rod, we don't need to be going, crazy up and down or left or right. Everything is nice, easy movements on there. Guiding out at the gorge, 36-inch rod, you could probably catch one, but you get one of these 30, 40-pound fish on, that 36-inch rod is, I had a 38-inch rod, didn't hold up. This is kind of the best of all worlds when you're targeting big fish, as far as having the power to not exhaust that fish paired with the right reel. I use a lot of Abu Revos and winches paired with these rods. It's a good combination to kind of fight that fish a little bit, but not too much. It just gives you a little bit more power to flex on those fish than you'll get on a smaller rod. Yeah, let's see. Reeker said a man's 48 or a woman's 48. This is a true 48.
Yeah, this is a man's 48.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the length that I have found over the last couple of years of guiding countless days out there for big fish. Now, if you're fishing Granby or something like that, sure, you can get away using a 36, 38-inch rod for that style of fish. Or if you're at the gorge fishing for smaller fish, those rods work, and you can catch big fish on it. It's just a lot easier on you and the fish, having the proper and bigger equipment. You can go out and catch a sturgeon, on a regular rod too, but it's a lot smarter and easier to do it on tackle that's the appropriate size. Yeah. So yeah, Philip says he likes 48 or less. It's hard to find a rod case to fit over 48. Yeah. And I will say, guys, if you are looking, if you have a bunch of these custom ice rods like this that are 48 inches, Otter makes a really great case that fits these rods perfectly in there, and you can fit 6 of them in there. And it's a little bulky, but when you get the money to invest in something like this and the reels and everything else that goes into it, once again, having the proper equipment, right, to keep your gear protected and safe is key, because you don't want to have a $200 rod and a $200 reel and then just let that sucker bounce around. So if you guys are looking for a rod that is bigger, for higher end rods or lake trout rods, Otter does make an awesome 48-inch rod case that works great. So Also going to give a shout out real quick to you guys that are watching. Stryker right now is having a sale on their climate suits. So all climate suits are 30% off. So if you go to the Stryker website, it's a great time to get a new suit. They have a bunch of different options, but Stryker is one of the sponsors of the show. So shout out to them. They are having a sale. And then, back to the good old, Razor ice augers. We put those suckers to the test last year. Really good augers. If you guys are out there looking for something that's affordable. So just kind of a few little plugs here. Most of my sponsors are products that I use, abuse, and they last and they work. So I try to share that stuff with you guys. The Stryker suits, the number one question I get people asking for suits is it, how warm are they? I think it doesn't really matter any suit, honestly. It's kind of like buying a new truck. You find the flavor that fits your style of fishing or, your style. And then they're pretty much, about the same ballpark for the most part. Yeah. But anyway, just a quick shout out to some of the sponsors here. Reeker says, you take care of your equipment, it'll take care of you. And yep. And in hard cases all the way. You're not going to want to get a soft case. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah. You want to take it hurts me. I care about rods when I got to fix them or that type of thing too. So you don't want to run around with these 48-inch Laker rods in a bucket. I mean, you got them on the back of your snowmobile or somewhere like that. You want to try and take care of that stuff. And it doesn't matter if you have one of my rods or one of yours. You just want to try and minimize any of those little accidents or oops where it gets too much pressure put on it. Next thing you know, you've got a weak spot somewhere. You get yourself a really nice fish on, and then boom, you have a failure. So you just
that's usually about the time you find out you find a failure.
Yeah,
that's usually what
you don't find it until you need it.
Yeah.
It's
usually what I tell people. Especially when you're fishing for trophy fish, it doesn't matter what the species is. You do any little tiny thing wrong, that fish is going to make you pay every single time. Yeah. So it's keeping all that stuff going on there. So let's see. We're gonna need. If you guys, Des, Gannon, if you guys are watching, Gannon, you need to pick, you need to go down the list. And, we have all these different dream fish, right? Kingfish, peacock bass, zander, tarpon, black marlin. We need you to pick which one you think is the coolest, to win one of these new mudhole reels that Jeff is giving away for the show. So if you guys have just tuned in, go ahead and post on here your dream or bucket list fish that you have not caught yet. So if you're out here, if you're just tuning in like Ryan is, he got to watch the same old Lions lose. So, but anyway, go ahead and post on here what your bucket list fish is, and then we're gonna Gannon's gonna pick one out there, and then we're gonna go ahead and give this away, and then also go to Jeff's Facebook page or his Instagram, and then go ahead and follow and like his Instagram and Facebook, and then he'll pick a winner, and then we'll get these he'll get these shipped out to you guys. So pretty nice reel. So you're not funny. Well, I wasn't trying to be funny. I actually wanted the Lions to go to the Super Bowl.
I did too.
And being a Packers fan, it's everybody's like, yeah, but you know what? When you have that one friend, right, that never wins in life, and then he's finally doing good, you're like, okay, we want this to keep going, for him. And, then they, the brand new Lions turn into the same old Lions. So, should have kicked a couple field goals, but, now we all have to sit and watch the 49ers and the Chiefs again. And we all know what happened the last time the 49ers and the Chiefs played. COVID happened a couple months later. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So otherwise we'll have, even more stuff to blame the Lions on. Yeah, see, Ryan said Lions are America's team now.
Yeah.
Well, they were. Now they're just the same old Lions. So now they're back down in the pit. Yeah. So Ethan, Ethan's going for Xander as well.
Yeah.
Jeremy, he's talking about. He said, "Don't show up to the gorge with 12-pound test." Yeah, the last time he did that, I told him it was too light, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm good. I catch fish all the time." And then I was doubled up with that fish that broke my reel seat with his fish. So what was funny about that is we were sight fishing big lake trout, and the fish that he hooked came in and looked at my bait, and the fish I hooked was looking at his bait, and they did a whole little swap, and then Jeremy got hit, and then I was hooked up, and we were in 10 feet of water, so it was insane because those fish were going, they were going nuts down there. And this thing looked like a shark was going back and forth, through the hole, and then his leader hit the corner of the hole, and boom, it was gone. So Ryan, Taman would be awesome. That's on my list with a marlin or a Taman, peacock bass. Jeremy said, "Come on, Gannon." It's a Wells catfish. So Thomas wants to know if you can launch a boat or anvil yet. If you got an airboat, you probably could, but not a regular one. So Wells. He said Wells catfish. Yeah, he wants Gannon to pick him. And then Reekers, let's see, scroll back up here. Where'd it go? Well, it's gone. Yeah. So, Marcus says sturgeon and go Niners. So, 49ers and Taylor Swift. Yep, that seems to be everything going around right now. 60-plus pound rooster fish. So,
The other thing here, since we're doing local and Shane happens to be out here in Denver, these are the hook marks. I think some of you may have seen my Facebook post about these. This comes from the Project Factory and Alex Fountain, who's a Colorado guy here. Shane's going to show it off in the camera for me. So those are pretty nice, but he came out with these, got 3M backing on it. You can put hooks, you can stick hooks in them for you fly guys. You can use these kind of hook marks, hook your tiny little fly in there. And if you've got this stuck onto something, a cooler or whatever, then you're able to tie your line. But great for tackle organization. So if you're interested in these, get with Alex. He's got different ones. There's ones for spoons. This kind of helps organize some of your tackle. I'm having some done with Fetters custom rods on them. So when you get a rod from me, I'm going to be sending those out as kind of like a thank you, a courtesy gift. But I think it's a great idea. I think all of us could use some tackle storage. Luckily that we've got the background we've got right now, and you can't see all the Plano 3700 boxes that are full and need to be organized before spring. But check those out. I think he has posted about them a time or two, and those are available for you guys to kind of get. Just kind of let him know what your idea is. It is the Project Factory, so he can help you out.
Wait. And we got a question. Thomas wants to know, Jeff, how long does it take to build a rod from start to finish? So we'll use the 48-inch ice rod for an example.
Yeah. I get going. Building rods isn't my main gig, but you've got to the handle takes a little bit of time. I shape all these handles on a lathe, and I build all these by hand. I try not to be rushed. I usually, if I don't have a lot of rods ahead of you and I've got everything in stock that I need and a little bit of time, usually I can get a rod, done in a couple weeks, sometimes a little bit sooner. I knew Shane was coming down this week, get some work done on his boat at Crowley.
Yep, shout out to Crowley.
Yep, and he asked if might have those rods ready, so I got on those here a couple days ago, and now they're on the dryer. So
we're supposed to be ice rods, but
yeah,
Mother Nature didn't want to cooperate, so now we
made them boat rods.
We got some awesome boat rods that we're going to put to use. So, all right, so I'm going to go over the list real quick one more time because I guess they can't scroll through comments. So Gannon wants to know. So we got a walleye. We got Chad with a tiger trout. We got Roberts, got the Grand Trevally. Buck Brown with a Wells catfish. Reekers with a rooster fish. We got Joel and Jay both want a peacock bass, which are really cool. Let's see. Mike has got a striper. And once again, those of you who are tuning in, we're giving away this Mud Hole 2200 series reel. And we're just naming off a bucket list fish that we have not caught that we would like to. Mine, of course, was 1,000-pound marlin, or taimen would be cool too. So Dalton said sailfish. Robert Neal wants lake trout. Nick Ramsey, golden dorado, which are super cool too. Tim wants a 10-pound walleye, so not just any walleye, but a 10-pound walleye. Kevin Underwood wants a peacock bass on top water. Michael Crisp wants a kingfish. And let's see. Kyle is talking about a zander. Philip with the tarpon. Joey with the black marlin. Sean with a tiger muskie. Pretty cool fish. We got John Bergquist wants a muskie. James Howard wants a shark. I don't know what kind of shark. So I know Gannon's pick for him was either megalodon or hammerhead. Yeah. So the megalodon might be a little tough to catch. Might be a little too big for you, man. But a hammerhead might be good. Reekers wants a king salmon. Let's see. Sorry, we're flying down the comments. So if you guys are watching and want to shoot yours in there while we're doing this, now's the time. Because when I get to the bottom of the list, that is it. Let's see. Ryan said golden dorado. Thomas wants a marlin. Jeremy wants a Wells catfish too. Marcus wants a sturgeon. Just keep going down. Ethan went with the zander. And then Ryan again with the taimen, which is cool. Okay, let's see. Kirk is looking at a mai. Don wants a tarpon. And let's see. Dez wants a peacock bass. Yeah, we're almost able to make that happen last year. Maybe we can get down there this year. David Vaughn wants a halibut. Thomas Holt wants a mermaid. Well, we can all dream. And Janelle says, any fish bigger than my brother's Joe and Jeff's. Well, yeah, that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reekers was talking about a giant Goliath grouper or giant grouper would be cool. And then, so let's see. Ethan went with a zander, but he said since somebody else said that, he wants to go to Goliath grouper, which would be cool too. But I don't know if I'm getting in the water with that thing.
I think I would.
You would?
Yeah, that'd be a great fish picture. That'd be a great giant fish picture.
Got to do it. Got to do it for the gram.
Yeah, I don't even like to swim.
I don't either.
You got a boat. You don't like to swim.
No, yeah. You got two guys. One's a guide. One does professional tournaments, and neither one of us really like to swim. But we're in a boat a lot, so there you go. I get a lot of people, a lot of clients make fun of me, and they're like, "Oh, you're a guide, but you don't know how to swim." I'm like, well, if I'm doing my job correctly, we're not in the water.
No.
So, Tim wants a sucker fish. Let's see. Wants a trophy Laker. Ryan said no one said bluefin tuna. Nope.
No.
Okay, so it looks like we have a winner. So the first person that said Xander, because he just caught a gold rake Xander in Norway on the fishing game they're playing right now. So you guys haven't heard of Call the Wild the Angler. We've been nerding out playing that game for the last couple weeks, and it's pretty fun just going around. You can go to there's a system that mimics Yellowstone here in Wyoming, and then there's a map that has Norway and one at Spain. So it looks like I'm gonna go all the way back up to here because I remember. Let's see.
It was Kyle. It might be Kyle Ross was the first one to say Xander.
So let's see.
It was pretty early when we first announced it, all the way at the top.
Let's see, loud and clear. Was it?
It was Kyle Ross, I think, was the first one that said Xander.
There it is. Yep. Kyle Ross. So Kyle, shoot myself or Jeff a message.
I know Kyle, so this will be easy.
Perfect. Yep. So we'll get that. He'll get that reel over to you. Congratulations on that. Thanks, Gannon, for your help. Gold rank fish. It's funny because we'll go on and play, and she usually gets mad because we'll be fishing next to each other, and I'll usually catch the first gold fish of the night. Or there was one night we were playing the game, and she'd been catching tiger muskie all night, and I was like, "Oh, what are you using?" And she's like, "Oh, number 5 jerkbait." So I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'll try that." Threw it on there, first cast, got a gold rank tiger muskie on the game.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty funny, but it's a cool game. If you guys haven't played, it's good for those inclement weather days. You can't go outside, but Rieger says his favorite is a beaver pond brookie on a 2-weight fly rod. That sounds like could be kind of fun. Yeah, if we were swimming, if we were swimming, it's a bad day. Yeah, exactly, Buck. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, now's a great time before we start wrapping the show up. If you have any questions, where he is giving away one more of these reels. If you go to his Instagram page and like his Instagram page or Facebook page, and then he'll make a list and do that. Yeah, so the game is actually is Call of the Wild the Angler. So if those of you guys looking for it, I just created a banner real quick. So it's Call the Wild the Angler. It's a pretty fun game. You can play it on a computer, PS5, Xbox, any of that, and you can cross play. So, if you guys are on there, if you're on there, hit me up on Facebook. You can add. We can add. Maybe we'll have a Recon angling live fishing tournament on the fishing game. Yeah. Call the Wild the Hunter. Yep, Ethan. Yep, that's the one. But yeah, that could be cool. We could have a virtual. Recon angling fishing tournament on the game one night. Whoever catches we could go after a select species, and whoever catches the biggest one in an hour wins a cool prize. I don't know. That sounds. We like to do all kinds of wild things out here. Have a good time. Fish. Catch fish, be safe while we're out there, be respectful and courteous to other anglers out there. Something that I'm starting to see a lot is somebody will catch a fish and then immediately a boat will come just pile up right next to another person. It's like, you know what, like the fish are moving around everywhere. Have some respect for your fellow anglers. You guys don't want somebody doing that to you. Give them some space, like at least a minimum 100 yards, on the boat, something like that. But yeah, okay, Buck says it's on sale right now, 50% off on Steam right now. So yeah, there you go. So Call the Wild Angler, pretty cool. It's a pretty fun game. So let's see. You guys got any other questions out there before we go ahead and wrap it up? It was a really fun show. I mean, that's what I like about doing these live shows. I'm happy I got back into it because I kind of have like a vague outline of what I want to talk about, but then we usually get turned around and go sideways, and so it's pretty fun. Yeah, David, it's good to see you back on here commenting. A lot of familiar names, so it's cool to see everybody again.
Yep.
One of these times I might actually be in Denver for more than 24 hours, so I might be able to hang out more than one or two people at a time. But I'm out of here first thing in the morning. I'm going up to Crawley Marine. Those of you guys looking for a boat, Lund, Ranger, pontoon boat, go check out Crawley Marine. I'm going to pick up my boat first thing in the morning, and then I'm hightailing it back to Colorado. Y'all can have your traffic down here. I definitely do not miss it.
Yeah.
I used to live in Lakewood for a while before I moved, and don't miss the traffic. So anyway, it was a cool, fun. There you go. That 10-year wedding anniversary. There you go, man. If you want, I will say, if you want to come this year, you want to get with me sooner than later. I think between May and June, I only have, 3 or 4 days left available. So, open water is still available, Ryan. We've been out there catching some really nice fish, open water. Been a little slower of a bite on the open water portion of the lake, but we've been getting into some decent fish. Yeah, 2025, sweet. If you want to do ice, I would recommend getting on the ice list for next year now. And then if you're looking at 2025, good time to get with me would be probably around October or so to book up for the next May or June. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff, for letting us use the fish cave down here.
Yeah, dinner wasn't bad either.
No, yeah. So Jeff is a gourmet chef. We had roast, mashed potatoes. Would have had carrots if he would have remembered to put the carrots in, but the green beans weren't bad either. So it was a great time down here. Great time with you guys out here. We'll get these out. I'll post the winners as well on the Recon Angling page. And then when you guys do get this stuff, go ahead and post on the page or shoot us a message so we can go ahead and share that with you. Thanks, Ryan. I'll do my best. It's like probably one of the only years where I'm up here in January where I didn't get stuck somewhere coming up or going back down. Yeah. So it'll be good. So, all right, guys, we'll see you. We'll try to be back live next week. I got some cool stuff from Norsk Lithium to show you guys next week. So we'll be talking about batteries and electronics more than likely next week. So until then, be safe out there and tight lines.